Hello again. Today on the table is the 2.2 version of Daystates Rangemaster Sovereign. Looking at the 177 results, these could break the trend of 81 points in the leader table. To date, the 2.2 table is pretty tight. With 2 more pellet reviews to go before we're back into 177 land, I thought it was time we tried my pellet of choice. Before we begin, this visual tin is not the data tin. Being my hunting pellet, I go through a lot of them, and the data tin was used up by the time it came to recording, so a second tin was bought, but the pellets were found to be different in design. Now, as I'm very familiar with this pellet, I'll be commenting on the quality of the data tin in line with the visual tin. I did keep some of the older pellets, which will be used later in the review for comparison. Let's go straight to the tin then, which tells you get 500 2.2 15.9 grain precision air rifle pellets. Slightly surprised at the 0.9 grain and not being a 0.9 something grain, but it's not uncommon for manufacturers to do this. Now, what I did find interesting and hadn't picked up on in the 177 review is that the distinct lack of Daystate written on the tin. The only clue is the 2 small Daystate crosshair logos. Now, I see this as an oversight by Daystate, as I have no idea who Sovereign were when browsing, and for some reason that coat of arms plays negatively on my mind, so I passed them by initially. I was then given some 177 Rangemaster Sovereigns to try, and that's how I found out how good they were in 177. But there may have been several purchases some tins earlier if the word Daystate was on there. Looking at the lid then, we see it's decorated boldly and I'd say eye-catching. My research shows that the coat of arms changes for the ranges of pellet, i.e. Sovereign range against Kaiser range. The red section changes colour for different calibers within that range. I couldn't find any images to back this up, as the Daystate web pages are not as detailed as say JSB or RWS, but what is on the website is a list under the accessories section of the shop that gives pellet caliber, name, weight, quantity and reputable retail price of all of their pellets. Personally, I think a few images on the page would be an improvement just to familiarise the customers with the tin designs. So, looking at the back of the pop tin then, the usual JSB square sticker, again no mention of Daystate, but there is a CZ on there for Czech Republic. This reinforces that these are a JSB manufactured pellet to Daystate's design. Accurate pellet diameter is not stated anywhere, so I guess I'm going to have the scoop on the actual pellet caliber. One more thing that this has me pondering is this number 1 sticker. What does it mean? Not even the power of Google had the answer to that one, but if anyone does know, then please reply in the comments. Opening the tin, we see obligatory makeup pad, quite a dull looking aerodome pellet suggesting softer lead. Split lines are visible along the length and across the head of the pellet. Now, the data tin and all of the tins I've shot have not had such a pronounced split line, but for some reason that area quality seems to have been lost. There's also a dark bruising on the head and inside the skirt that was not seen in previous tins. Overall though, no damage or ding ones, which is good. These are from the data tin, and I'll just let you absorb them for a second. Cost. This tin, as you saw, is $12.99, and the usual first 2 web searches found Uttings at $12.49 and Countryway at $11.99. So the main cost comes in at $12.49. I guess this is worth it as long as it significantly outperforms everything else in delivery. Incidentally, the reputable retail price from the Daystate site is £13.80, which wouldn't change the leaderboard score, but I expect big things for this cost. Quality, and a quick reminder that the data tin is not the one in the video. From the 32-piece sample, the spread of the overall length was found to be 0.03mm, head diameter 0.02mm. These are both very tight. Things seem to start to come undone slightly after that though. The skirt length came out at 7.17mm and the weight spread a whopping half a grain. I double checked this and I got exactly the same results, and it was no better on the new tin, so expect tall groups from this pellet. Looking at the mean sizes in the 32-piece sample, the mean length is 7.32mm, head diameter is 5.51mm, so just make a note. Skirt length 3.47mm, and the mean weight is 15.9 grains. For the obsessive shooters out there interested in the 0.0 something. Last area of quality is the close-up. Now, these are Daystates tin pellets. and 4R and one's current tin pellet. But looking at the section pellets, the top data tin and bottom is current tin. The lower pellet in comparison has sort of a 55-45 weight split, and the upper pellet is 65-35 weight split. This is quite a significant change, whether by Daystate design or variation in the JSP process. I've not had a chance to trial these new pellets yet, but I will get round to it when I head to the indoor range, and I'll put a follow-up video on Facebook. What I can say though is the 177s don't appear to have changed, but it has been nearly a year since I bought a tin. Now I use them for hunting, so again I don't go through that many, but when I do buy a new tin, I'll put a comment up on Facebook to see if there's a difference. Deformation is great on these pellets, and the data tin makes a real mess in that blue stuff. The head of the pellet mushroomed around the sides and brought the card and blue tack with it. Switch the material then to bone and meat, and you can be sure that these are going to do a good job once they're inside the target. Again though, being 2-2, they slowed down fairly fast, and they only drove pellet deep into the blue stuff. Lighter Falcons went significantly deeper, suggesting to me that pellet speed is going to be key on quarry. Delivery. The data tin showed the following centre-to-centre groups at 25 yards, indoor at ×10 mag in the Walther RM8 pre-charged. An 11mm bedding in group, a 14mm first group, an 11.5mm second group, where another shooter cross-fired, then claimed he shot the group. I quickly pointed out that he's shooting 177, and a final 11mm third group. Now this yields a mean group size of 12.2mm, but look at this, tall groups, pellet weight variation just like we saw on the Falcons. So this is the difference that half grain makes. Out to 40 yards then, there's one fly where I was busy chatting prior to the shot and forgot my hold of 2 mil dots, going for 3 instead, so it's gone high. But as we don't use this group for anything in the scores, and it's up to you to add it or take away, so I'm confidently saying that the RM8 at 10 mag, you should expect to get 15mm centre-to-centre 10-shot groups at 40 yards. But if you prefer to keep the flyer, then it's a 21mm centre-to-centre group. Still damn good for a 2-2 at 40 yards, but as always, with different barrels and their delivery, it will vary, but it's still a very accurate pellet. So, scores then. Cost, a mean cost of $12.49, scores it a 2. Quantity, lead per quid of 500, gives it a 3. Quality, now it needed to be under 0.5, but it's 0.72, scoring it a 3. Delivery, it's good, but it's not good enough to score it a 4, and it only gets a 3. The final score then is 54. My preferred 2-2 pellet has in fact broken the mould, but I don't like the direction one bit, and I've probably peed Daystate off a lot in the process. But they are top of the 177 table, so it's not all that bad Daystate. Now one thing not covered is how they work in other barrels. So in the Remy they're very good at any range, and also in the Raider we rebuilt. So the jury's out, but being an engineer I'm going to have to go with the data, don't I? As always, feel free to comment, don't troll, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, like us on Facebook, stay safe and shoot straight. Thanks for watching, goodbye.